Bless. Oh yeah. So, in for push. So, second movement done. So, incline chest press. Big fan of that chest press. It's very vertical, I guess you'd say, in the plane it takes. So it's very, very unforgiving, and it converges quite hard, specifically at the top. So it's very, very easy to get your chest short. But big fan of that movement. So that was the best I've done with that weight. So it was 107.5 kilo side for 8 reps with like an assisted 9. I do know some people kind of track when people spot them and stuff, but I never have the same person spotting me. So I always just try to take a mental note of how much effort it looks like they're putting in, and then I'll go from there. So I've definitely improved from that. So likely next week I'll go to 110 a side, which will be solid because that's my all-out weight I've ever done on that movement. And then the Panata shoulder press, again, big fan of this. I tend to put the seat right down so it can stay as vertical as possible. I understand the reason, but it irks me when I see people like doing a shoulder press but their back's at this angle, or they're like arching and they've got a huge arch in their back. Because to me, you're really just loading the upper part of your chest and your front delt. It's not really a shoulder press, which is something I'm not against, but it's not shoulder press. So this Panata press allows me to be very, very vertical in my pressing, but again, it converges pretty hard at the top. So solid movement. And then I've got 105 on this for 6, and then my back off. The rep range I've got set for my back off is 12, and I've got 10 there. But it's a matter of just being untrained to this movement pattern. I've been doing a lot of high incline presses as of late, so this change is it's like just teething problems. So the strength will be coming back, so that's it. My chest and shoulder training is very, very basic. So simple movements, a lot of intensifiers, not a lot of volume, but intense, in and out, and then done. So, decline press done. That was a rest pause, nice and simple. 10 to 15 on the first round, and then just 2 40-second rounds, taking them to failure. So we've got 15, which is the top end of my set rep range, so I'll be increasing the load for next week. I've recently changed the decline press I use, so I was using the Panata plate loaded one, and I was using the more like wider handle, which I connected to very well, but I found as soon as I started to really load it, I would get like almost like an impingement pain at the top of my shoulder. So recently swapped it over to the decline hammer press, and just the position the handle is in is a bit more forgiving on the shoulder. Now take dip. So it's the last compound movement of the day. So it was one all-out set at 8 to 12. I've been doing this prior as a Widowmaker, but every week the progress is very limited, because during a Widowmaker set I don't have the recovery capabilities and frankly the cardiovascular ability to actually attack a Widowmaker set. So I just did 2 sets, straight 8 to 12, and then a cluster set. There we go. A cluster set which I'll be doing next. Big fan of this dip machine, and the biggest change I've seen with doing this is I actually feel my triceps far more throughout the session, but then from a physique standpoint I'm starting to see more of a hang to the long head of my tricep. And I'm actually getting tricep DOMs. Never used to get tricep DOMs, now getting them. So if you struggle with your arms like me, put a tricep compound-esque movement at the start of your sessions.
And I'm the best. Now you know, you are the best.
What do you like? Anyway, so seat dip's done. Cluster set definitely undershot the loading a bit, but it's first time doing that on that machine, so it is what it is. I'll progress it next week. And then with my cluster sets, I will vary the rest between rounds dependent on how demanding the movement is. So if it's like a leg movement, like a leg press, or a chest press, or a back row, something like that, I'll tend to favour like a 20-second rest between rounds. But if it's a little bit more isolated and it's not as demanding, I'll definitely favour 15 seconds or even 10 seconds. So that's what I did there. I did 10 seconds, and then pec deck. Just nothing fancy. Two working sets there. You will notice the way I do my chest flies, at least on the pec deck, is I don't focus purely on trying to bring my elbows as narrow together, because often when I find I do that, the tendonitis I get in my elbows flares up, and then my biceps get overly pumped and cramped. So I often just focus on trying to flex my chest as hard as I can, but then on the back end in the stretch position, I almost like bend my elbow, and I find that helps to really open up my chest and get as much blood into the chest. So now it's 2 sets seated sideways. Big fan of this machine. The way I do it is purely to eliminate trap involvement and to keep it on the side outs. I've got enough traps from pulling and rowing that I don't need more. So yeah, nice and simple. I extend both of these sets with partials purely to just milk as much of the side out as I can, because you can never be too wide in bodybuilding. So nearly done. So seat side raise, solid sets there. Big increases in loading. I think it was 10 kilo on both sets. Annoyingly, my top set, the heavier set, I wasn't like right locked in on my left side, so I felt the pad kind of rolling off the edge of my elbow. And I do find the way I do it with having my arm locked out, kind of pushing it that way, it allows me to drive through my elbow rather than my hand. And like I said before, it takes my traps out of it, but it allows me to like really lock my shoulders down and then drive out. So I feel far more secure in that setup. And then did that kind of like incline chest supported cable fly. Not done that in a fucking long time, but big fan of that because from what you can't see in the videos, I'm kind of bracing my core against the pad and then I'm just flexing my chest through. And I find my ability to take my chest to complete failure on that is more than a normal cable fly, more than a dumbbell fly, more than a pec tech, more than any other fly movement. And I do think it's simply my ability to like lock myself down into the bench and just kind of go at it. So just one set there, followed by 2 drop sets, and then now quick superset side delts into like a front delt, circular raise type motion, and then I'll get on my triceps, not biceps. Right, so superset for delts done. As basic as it is with being on dumbbell side raise into a front raise, I just find it at the end of my session, kind of going into both sets quite with a good pace, good intensity, just rinses the rest of my delts. Anyway, so I've been toying around with different tricep movements and bicep movements for a lot of my arm work recently, and just trying to keep the plane of movement the same rather than the movement, as it's just 8 sets of biceps or 8 sets of triceps, whatever I'm doing, 2 different rep ranges, and then everything to 2 reps in reserve, mainly because my elbow health is fucking shocking. So just get a really big pump rather than taking things to failure. So I have been doing skull crushers with dumbbells on an incline, but that's been hurting my elbow. My elbow's been getting a bit more beaten up than normal, so I did overhead rope extensions, and that was lovely. All on the belly of the muscle, none in the joint. And now I'm just doing like across the body cuff extensions, Wolverines. I call them Wolverines. I'm doing it on the Watson pull down setup, purely because you can adjust the angle of where it pulls from. So I find I can line it up with my movement far better. So 3 sets of this and then done. Nice and simple.